In the last section, we did a walkthrough of all the different technologies that we're going to be using inside this application. Now, just one last section of some administrative stuff. I know this stuff is boring. I know you want to write some code, but believe me, doing all this preparation ahead of time is really going to pay off. So the last little bit of prep or overview on the app is going to be looking at a couple of mock-ups of the application that we're going to try to build on the front end of our app. So we're going to look at a couple mock-ups and then we'll get started on our application. Okay, so we're going to go through this page by page, essentially more or less following how a user might make use of our application. When our user first comes to the application, and we're going to be using the name Emaily, I don't know, I made it up, I don't have a good name for the app. We're going to call it Emaily because it kind of collects user feedback via email, whatever. Anyways, once they come to our application, we're going to show them a landing page of sorts, where we show a header. It says our logo at the top left, a button to log in with Google OAuth at the top right, and then some text that just says, hey, get feedback from your users faster, or something just to make it clear what our application does. Now, throughout this course, we're not going to be really concerned with the styling aspects of our application. Trust me, the functionality of what we're trying to build here is complex enough that trying to add on a lot of styling and marketing stuff here would be its own separate course. So this landing page that we're going to have is going to be pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and it's really going to be a lot more about making sure that we're kind of conveying just very basic information to the user. Okay, so you can kind of imagine a user comes here and maybe they decide, hey, they want to try our application. So they click on the login button right here. Now, when they click on the login button, they'll be kicked into our OAuth flow through Google. Now, if you're not familiar with OAuth, that is totally fine. We're going to be going through it in just incredible detail. That's why you're here, right? That's why you're taking the course. So just take my word for it. When a user clicks on this button up here, that will then log them into our application. Now, once a user logs into our application, we will then present them with a screen that shows them the results of all the different campaigns or surveys that they've sent out over time. So the user will be prompted with a list of some of the different campaigns they've sent out. We'll show the name of each campaign. We'll show them some of the feedback that they got from users. So in this case, we're dealing with, like, say, yes or no questions right here. And we're showing the number of yes responses from their users and no responses, and then the total number of surveys sent. And so we'll have one of these separate little card looking things for every different campaign or survey that has been sent out. Now, a couple other elements on this page that are really important. Remember, we are accepting real money and real credit cards for this application. So we're going to show some button up inside the header that says add some money or pay some money so that you can send out these survey emails. Remember that we're not really doing a subscription-based type interface or type billing here. We're really doing just credit-based. In other words, you give us, like, say, $10, and that allows you to send out 10 emails. So at any given time, we want to make sure the user is aware of how many credits they have left in their account or how many emails they can still send out. And then at the bottom right hand, we'll have a nice big button that a user can click on to create and send out a brand new survey. Okay, just two other screens. First off, the Add Credits button. When a user clicks on this thing right here, I want to present the user with some type of form that allows them to enter in their credit card information and pays us money, right? So when a user gives us their credit card, we will then bill their credit card and give them some number of additional credits. When a user clicks on the new button right here, remember, that's going to allow them to create a new survey. So let's imagine they click on that, and they're going to go into the flow to create and send out a brand new campaign or a new survey. Now this flow is going to have two separate screens to it, so let's look at each individual one. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about this particular flow right here because this is going to be one of the most complicated aspects of the front end side of our application. So when a user goes to create a new survey or a new campaign, we're going to ask them to give us some title for the survey, some subject line to put inside the email that gets sent out to all their users, some text to put inside the body of the email they're going to send out, and then a list of all the different emails that they want to send the survey to. So in theory, recipient list right here, the list of emails, would be just a real long copy pasted in collection of emails. Maybe it's 5 emails, maybe it's 1,000, whatever it is. we want to make sure that we collect it all and send one email to each and every one of those users. Now, the reason that this component is going to be a little bit more complicated is that we're going to make sure that a user has the ability to review their inputs after they've entered them into this form. So remember, we're talking about money here, right? We're talking about money and we're talking about emails. We want to be really sure that the user who is creating this new survey right here really wants to send out this survey, really wants to send it out. Because as soon as they submit it, we're going to send out 5 or 10 or 1,000 emails. So rather than having the user just click on like submit right here, when the user clicks on this button that is going to say next, we're going to give them the opportunity to review all the different inputs they had entered in on the last screen. So we're going to give them the ability to review the stuff and then say, okay, I triple checked it, this all looks good. I want to really definitely 100% send out this survey. Because after they click this submit button, that's the point of no return. That's the point at which we are going to deduct money from their account and send out this big ol' hunk of emails. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the front end aspect of this application. Now, this might seem like really straightforward because, hey, we only looked at what, like 4 or 5 different screens. So it might look really straightforward, but I would say that probably the back end component of this application is going to be way more significant than the front end. And so remember, this is a full stack course and I want to teach you the entire stack in equal parts. So we're not going to be just sitting and writing React components all day. We're going to be doing a little bit of React and some MongoDB stuff and some Node stuff, just all over the place, really learning the entire full stack as opposed to just doing a lot of fancy looking React components, which is something that you probably already know or something you can kind of figure out on your own. Okay, so that's pretty much it for mockups. That's what we're going to build. So I think that's enough on all the prep stuff, all the kind of forward information. So let's take a quick break. We're going to come back in the next section and start tackling this project head on. So I'll see you in the next section.